So, Susan, in terms, what sort of, well, there are two things. One, what is the level of penetration that you're expecting for both RippleNet and XRP?
Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another CYPRX video banger. In today's video, we're going to go down the rabbit hole and I'm going to show you all how massive and explosive this next bull market cycle is going to be, just based off of the infrastructure layer that is being built right now as we speak in order to actually onboard financial institutions into this digital asset space. With that being said, if you all enjoy these video breakdowns, do us a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. We're going to be going over some documents, looking back at some previous events, and just showing you all some things that the mainstream media is not going to show you all. Just keep in the back of your mind that in previous market cycles, we have never experienced these two things: a utility-driven cycle and large financial institutions on a global scale adopting these digital assets, utilizing them, offering them to their clients.
Through that 2021, 2022 cycle, I mean, looking back on it now, what's clear is the infrastructure, and by infrastructure I mean the kind of exchanges, the custodians, the service offerers that were in the market were not fit for purpose for that volume of interest.
And that is all happening for the very first time. In previous market cycles, they were primarily driven by early adopters, retail traders, so on and so forth, reaching a $3.2 trillion market cap, okay? You have to understand the infrastructure, the foundation, the regulation is all being implemented and put into place now to actually onboard these financial institutions in a comfortable, a regulatory compliant, and interoperable manner.
There were many missing pieces. There were no scaling solutions. There was no liquidity. More importantly, the exchanges or the FMIs were missing in action. That is now changing this time around. We are seeing many layer 2 or scaling solutions, infrastructure providers like Fireblocks, helping banks and other institutions, making it easier to do it. But most importantly, we are seeing the large FMIs, exchanges, CCPs, custodians coming in and taking part in this ecosystem. And that makes banks very comfortable with doing this at scale. And
it is about to be massive what they're building. So I'm going to attempt to show you that in today's video breakdown. So we're going to go back to February 13th, 2024. Now, pay attention to some of the video clips that I'm going to share in between these articles. Now, Ripple announced an acquisition of Standard Custody, a trust company, expanding its portfolio of regulatory license. This is massive, and I'm going to explain to you why, given some recent events that just took place, and we're going to think about this logically, all right? So what did this do? The increase in institutional adoption of crypto and blockchain is a result of a more mature and highly secured product in the market that's fully regulated and compliant.
Wounds as an industry, right, that have happened and have caused people to be scared. And so I think we're going to need to see more good actors that are acting, you know, responsibly, that think about compliance first and foremost versus, oh, it's some bother that I have to deal with. We need governments to step up and provide regulatory clarity. I think we see some great examples of that around the world, in Singapore, in the UAE, in the UK, not so much in the US. And so, you know, if you have clear rules, you have people who follow the rules, and then companies can innovate and invest with confidence that there's going to be an ROI, and they're not going to get rug pulled because some government who hasn't chosen to sort of be explicit about what you can and can't do is going to surprise them. So it's a combination of things, in my opinion. And, you know, at the end of the day, obviously, you know, a good product, good service that solves a real world problem, provides real utility. It's not just about speculation and get rich quick and pumping up the price of crypto. I mean, all these things will line up. I think they're starting to line up. I see the companies are really stepping up. Certain jurisdictions, certain governments are stepping up. So I think a lot of reasons to be optimistic coming out of what was maybe a year ago, some reasons not to be very optimistic.
Which is the direction in which we're headed in. We're headed into a utility-driven asset class that is going to flourish as long as these blockchain distributed ledger technology companies are regulatory compliant, which Ripple is attempting to be, and others just like Ripple who are attempting to be regulatory compliant will thrive in this new digital asset ecosystem moving forward. Those that are not will go bye-bye and most likely disappear. Ripple in standard custody, this is going to play an important role, dedicated to enabling enterprises to reap the benefits of blockchain across a host of financial use cases, building institutional grade solutions to tokenize, store, and move along with exchanging value. Ripple is well positioned to take advantage of the current market opportunities and further strengthen their crypto infrastructure solutions, said Monica Long, Ripple president. Keyword infrastructure.
Look, Ripple at its core is a blockchain infrastructure company serving enterprises. We started with payments and financial institutions. We've moved into custody, a lot of overlap with those same financial institutions. But we're going to expand with that same thematic of infrastructure, enterprise-based, that served us well.
The non-U.S. market has been really, really strong for us. And
you're going to be the infrastructure around all of that.
That is our goal. And we think that opportunity is huge. We think that's going to be great for Ripple. We think it's going to be great for XRP, which is a digital asset we use.
So I've seen several cycles. I mean, what's exciting right now is the amount of infrastructure that's been built. There's a lot of questions on scalability, not dissimilar to the internet in 1995, 1996, when it was really slow to download anything, send an email, and what we've seen great strides in is these layer 2 solutions. How do you verify transactions better or more efficiently with zero knowledge proofs, and so that whole scaling has been built over the last few years since 2020, and that's going to enable new applications to be built and enterprises to better utilize blockchain infrastructure, applications to be built, and enterprises to better utilize blockchain infrastructures.
Infrastructure, enterprise-based, that served us well.
So I think we're just getting to the point where we're going to see more mass adoption over the next 5 years.
We also know that they are, in fact, building out a new infrastructure.
But I would say that there's a lot of positives, right? Like if you speak to institutions and trading partners now, what they're generally more focused on are kind of like operational due diligence, infrastructure, like institutional infrastructure. So we're getting asked a lot more about like tripartite repo, sub-managed accounts. They want more visibility and more control into the assets, which has existed for a long time in traditional assets and should have existed in crypto. It just, there wasn't the demand and the need necessarily, but it's the right thing to do, right? So I think we're kind of transitioning to that period with these institutions within crypto, and all that infrastructure is now actually being valued and being built. So that's kind of what we're seeing on our side.
Now, recently, Ripple announced its custody partnership with top-tier banks such as HSBC, BBVA, and Zodia Custody. Highlighting that right there for you all, we're going to come back to that. Now, together, Ripple will further innovate and extend their leadership position in providing crypto infrastructure, says Jack McDonald, the CEO of Standard Custody. We're going to come back to Zodia. So we know Ripple is partnered with Zodia Custody. All right, here we can see Standard Chartered-backed Zodia Custody partners with Ripple Institutional Network, Matico. Okay, this is, you guys have to really truly understand. Watch what I'm about to show you. This is not some freaking joke. This is what the mainstream's not going to cover or tell you all. Check this out. Standard Chartered-backed Zodia Custody, and I know that this is old. Remember, this is a couple months ago, December 4th, but watch what I'm going to show you here in just 1 second. Look at what they're building. Okay, again, this is all happening for the first time ever. People can't even fathom what's about to come down the pipelines with this digital transformation and the onboarding of these financial institutions and the amount of money we're about to see come into this space for the first time ever. Standard Chartered-backed Zodia Custody is integrated with Ripple-owned Matico to streamline institutional crypto custody services, according to a December 4th statement. I only have a couple of different highlights, so stick around. Check this out. The integration allows institutions to access Zodia Custody's high security solutions through Matico's platform. Institutions can leverage both platforms to enhance security measures, risk management, and solvency protection. This is important. This collaboration strengthens the global digital asset infrastructure by improving connectivity to the foundation layer 0 and 1 on the blockchain, creating a robust settlement network built on blockchain rails. And again, this is all happening in partnership and collaboration with Ripple's institutional network, Matico. Ripple is not going to be some random player in the future of this digital asset landscape. I don't understand how people don't see it, okay? Zodia Custody has stated the collaboration is part of its plan to become the most connected custodian in the digital asset ecosystem, all right? So they're partnered with Ripple. They're partnered with institutional network Matico, whom we know Ripple acquired. All right. Now look at what just happened. I'm going to show you guys how deep this all is. This is not just random Joe Schmoes on the internet making this. This is the freaking government. This is these finite entities, the beings that control this earth, putting this info out for you. And look at this. This is not going to ever reach the mainstream. Zodia Custody, look at what they just did. All right. So this is from a month ago, where their chief commercial officer, James Harris at Zodia Custody, met with key figures at 10 Downing Street. Do y'all freaking know what 10 Downing Street is? Okay. If you're not too familiar with what this location is, at the end of the day, just to put it in a nutshell, it serves as the prime minister's working headquarters where they conduct private meetings that you have to be invited to, right? You don't just get to walk up and knock on the door. They make decisions, and this is where the prime minister, according to fundamentals, resides in this office. All right. Now, individual representatives getting to go and talk at 10 Downing Street. What does this mean for this space? Okay, Zodia Custody, whom we know is partnered with Ripple, is going to have private conversations at 10 Downing Street. This means government interest. Okay. This means consultations. This means regulation. This means policy influence, right? Policy influence. Do you know what I just said to you? Policy influence. They're influencing the policies now, the regulations now. Security, compliance. This means compliance. Zodia Custody is compliant with regulations. They're going to meeting with the prime minister. Okay. And Zodia Custody, we know, is partnered with Ripple. All right, look, let's just read this. Okay, so let's logically comprehend what I just told you. Do you see any other custody providers doing this that are connected with other blockchain-based distributed ledger technology companies? No, it's always leading back to Ripple. Okay, I'm not trying to be a maxi here. I'm just showing you guys the devil's in the details. The connectedness is there. Okay, the innovation only breakfast reception was joined by a select group of industry leaders and focused on the positive impact of the sector in the UK economy. Look at again what they mentioned. The discussion centered upcoming policies and the government's vision for fostering growth within the digital asset landscape. As a leading FCA registered custodian, again, Zodia Custody, leading FCA registered custodian, partnered with who? Ripple. You think they're going to go away? They're not going away, people. It's only going to get deeper. Collaborative dialogues with policymakers in key conversations, establishing a framework that safeguards consumers while nurturing innovation. They're not trying to squash cryptocurrency or get rid of digital assets. They're trying to build a network and infrastructure for these financial institutions and these large organizations to onboard. James' presence at Downing Street demonstrates their commitment to shaping a positive regulatory future for the digital asset ecosystem. Again, shaping that future. And we know who Zodia Custody is partnered with. Now, we know at the end of the day, Ripple is integrated, and we know for a fact that the prime minister, we know for a fact that at 10 Downing Street, they know about Ripple because Ripple, back in 2021, joined the Digital Pound Foundation, and we know that for a fact. Now, who represents Ripple at the Digital Pound Foundation? Susan Friedman, right? Where was Susan Friedman back in 2023 on a panel discussion, and what were they talking about? Take a second and listen to some of the video clips from that panel discussion.
So if this is going to happen, if CBDCs are going to be used cross-border, there has to be a mechanism for different national CBDCs to be exchanged for one another. Technically, we know how to do this.
So, Susan, in terms, what sort of, well, there are two things. One, what is the level of penetration that you're expecting for both RippleNet and XRP? Using CBDCs and private company, stablecoins perhaps, for transfers, including use by central banks. And although financial inclusion and remittances, for that matter, are motivations for the smaller countries, that does, it seems to me, perhaps restrict some of the financial stability of actually using private money channels to a substantial...
Sure. Although I do want to start out just one point that Barry raised. I would hate for anyone to leave here thinking Ron DeSantis sets U.S. policy. He does not. Although I think the concerns that he raised about privacy are certainly valid. They're ones that are being debated globally. I think we shouldn't even presume that CBDCs, as they're issued, would be issued on a blockchain. I think everything is up for debate as CBDCs are debated, whether they should come into existence, what problem people are trying to solve, what is the best way to formulate the tech. From a Ripple perspective, and to your question, Michael, I think that we have always come at this from the perspective of private money can exist alongside public funds. They're not necessarily a substitute one for the other. And at the end of the day, countries should be creating the regulatory systems that allow for these different entities to develop, and the market can decide how exactly they will be used. private funds, private cryptocurrencies like XRP, which we utilize to facilitate cross-border payments, are just not going to be utilized in the same way that a CBDC would, which could, for example, be used to target aid. One example was CBDC could allow governments to better target aid during crises like COVID to populations. You would not use something like Bitcoin for that purpose. You probably wouldn't use something like XRP for that purpose. But XRP was specifically designed to help facilitate money transfer, and there are applications that we think make XRP particularly well suited for that. So we don't pick winners and losers. We don't think that government should be picking winners or losers. We think government should be focused on protecting financial stability, monetary policy, and within those constructs, whatever survives and thrives and finds their footing.
Right? Just to top it off, written evidence submitted by the Digital Pound Foundation, we can see originating members, and we can see right here, Quant, Ripple, right? They're partners of the Digital Pound Foundation. This just goes to show how deep this rabbit hole is in the term of regulatory compliance, how they're building out an infrastructure. They're literally telling you the key vocabulary words, right? They're attempting to build out a global digital asset infrastructure in order to allow these financial institutions to participate in this space. And Ripple is, for a fact, at the forefront of this technological transformation. All right, I think I have enough time to throw in the video clip real fast. This was very interesting as well, just to show you all that Ripple is partnered with some of the biggest central banks in the world globally. Okay, you see right here, BBA. This is the Boston Blockchain Association. You can see some comments from the members here, and we have individual representatives from the Boston Federal Reserve. Okay, this is not just some random Joe Schmo. And we can see down here, their sponsors of the Boston Blockchain Association are Ripple, Algorand, Deloitte, major consulting firm, right? We also have down here mentioned the Federal Reserve, Bank of Boston. Okay, this is not just some random interconnected web that they're building. They didn't just go out and choose or allow Ripple to be a sponsor for no reason, or Algorand Foundation to be a sponsor for no reason. All right, they're partnered, these interconnected webs, with governmental entities, with central banks, with custody providers, helping shape regulations, building out infrastructures is all part of the plan. It's just going to take time. It's going to take time for all of this to come into fruition. Sound regulations, obviously, of course, global cooperation. But once it all is laid and the frameworks are put in place, we are about to witness, and we are witnessing, as a matter of fact, the birth of a new asset class. And you can clearly see who is at the forefront of making this all work. Okay? And I hope that in today's video breakdown, this shared that with you. Now, again, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you guys to go out there and buy the digital asset XRP, but we know, right? With every solution, we are realizing a more sustainable global economy and planet, increasing access to inclusive and scalable financial systems while leveraging carbon-neutral blockchain technology and the green digital asset XRP. Ripple relies on the digital asset XRP, that we know. And now we also know, after this video breakdown, I've shown you all the interconnected web that Ripple is intertwined with. So take that as you will. Many blessings to you guys. As always, be cognizant, be aware, and I'll see you all in the next video breakdown.